Alright, back. Stranded at sea. Which ocean are you choosing? Air, not. You know how itchy that's gonna be? That's ridiculous. I'm gonna be itching like crazy. You know whenever you get a haircut and you start itching and shit? Nah. Pass. What is deer in your blood? I think I'm good, bro. Thanks. Zaza? You know, this one ain't that bad. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm allergic to Zaza, yeah, I know. I'm allergic to Zaza. Is that rare? I don't know. Pass. Your third at speed. You know, this isn't the first time one of these videos has asked me this, so I'm gonna kindly ask you to stop asking me this. Thank you. I'm done with that. No. Deltarune tomorrow! I just figured it out. Deltarune tomorrow is an anagram for Porturaloon moron. This changes everything. Haha. Alex, you finally... Okay, this was wrong, actually. Deltarune tomorrow! I just figured it out. Deltarune tomorrow is an anagram for Porturaloon moron. This changes everything. Haha. Alex, you finally... Okay, this was wrong, actually.
Have you ever watched a teacher drop dead in class? My gym teacher, Mr. Dempsey, died during class. Heart attack while showing us proper push-up form. 1 second, he was counting reps. Next second, he was face down on the basketball court. We all froze. Then Lindsay screamed. Then chaos. Except here's the thing. He got back up. Not immediately. Paramedics worked on him for 12 minutes. Called time of death at 2:47 p.m. We watched them cover him with a sheet. Whole school got sent home. Next morning, he was in his office eating a bagel. Morning, ladies. 5 laps around the track. We lost our shit. Kids running away. Tessa fainted. Eli threw up. What? He looked genuinely confused. Too many laps? You died. I finally managed. Oh, that. He took another bite of bagel. Yeah, that happens sometimes. What? The principal called an assembly. Tried to explain. Mr. Dempsey has a rare condition. I die. Dempsey interrupted. No big deal. Been happening since I was 12. Heart stops. I'm dead for a bit, then I'm back. Like a really shitty superpower. Parents went ballistic. School board had emergency meetings. Lawyers got involved. But Dempsey kept showing up. Court ruled he couldn't be fired for a medical condition. Even if that condition was being temporarily dead. We adjusted. Kind of. Dempsey's dead again. Became a normal announcement. We'd move his body to the nurse's office. Continue class with a substitute. Wait for him to pop back up. He started wearing a bracelet. If found dead, just wait 10 to 15 minutes. The weird part? He remembered being dead. Not heaven or hell stuff. Just nothing. Said it was like the best nap ever. Honestly, dying is the most rest I get. He'd joke while making us run suicides. Then Trent asked the question we'd all been thinking. What if one time you don't come back? Dempsey shrugged. Then I get a permanent nap. Win-win. Dark as fuck, but somehow comforting. One day he died during parent-teacher conferences. Mid-conversation with Mrs. Baldwin about her son's fitness test. Slumped over, face in his coffee. She screamed. Other parents panicked. I was there helping file papers. He'll be back, I said, continuing to sort forms. He's dead. Yeah, it's Thursday. He always dies on Thursdays. Something about the stress. 15 minutes later, he sat up. Coffee all over his tracksuit. Where were we? Oh right, Ethan needs to work on his mile time. Mrs. Baldwin needed therapy after that. The school eventually adapted. Put a cot in his office, posted a Mr. D death status board in the main hall. Green meant alive, red meant temporarily dead. We'd update it like weather. College scouts started coming to watch our games. Not for us, for him. Wanted to study his condition. He let medical students observe sometimes. They'd take notes while he was dead.
Today I got pulled over with my 3-year-old brother in the backseat. That's it? What do you mean? That's your emotionally scarring backstory? That's your great tragedy?
This girl was so terrified of pain that when she started playing the game, she not only chose the tank class with the highest defense stats, but dumped every single attribute point into defense. With 0 points in agility, she moved slower than a snail. It took her 10 whole minutes just to leave the starter village. When she finally encountered her first monster, all she could do was stand there and take hits. Luckily, Maple's defense was so ridiculously high that after getting pounded for an hour straight, she not only unlocked a new skill called absolute defense that doubled her defense stats, but the monster literally died of exhaustion. Maple leveled up to level 2 and, naturally, dumped all her new points into defense again. As she wandered along, Maple ran into a queen bee whose poison attacks could bypass defense. She immediately turned to run, but since she put everything into defense, there was no way she could outrun a flying bee. Just then, Maple suddenly unlocked another skill, basic poison resistance. Turns out taking continuous damage grants resistance. So Maple stopped running, flopped on the ground playing dead, and grinded her basic poison resistance all the way to max level. When the moment was right, she spun around and one-shot the poor Queen Bee. Maple instantly jumped to level 8 and scored a rare drop, the Queen Bee ring that auto-regenerated health. She also unlocked a new skill called Underdog.
You might be wondering why I am waiting to call an emergency meeting as the imposter. For you to understand, we will have to start from the beginning. Once again, I have the chance to manipulate the whole lobby as the imposter. Since I have the shapeshifter role, I have to run away from everyone. I saw that green was near oxygen. I was able to catch green, so I ran to navigation, sabotaged lights, and transformed into red. Unfortunately, the body was reported from a distance, so nobody saw that fake red was near since lights were off. I am being vocal in meetings on purpose so people think that I'm trying to be a helpful crewmate. That's the image that you should aim to show others. The meeting is skipped due to a lack of information, but I noticed that Rose voted for me. That is the moment she lost. I run to medbay and transform into her. Medbay is a good location for that since you can vent to 3 different places to find someone to kill before your shapeshifter runs out. I chose electrical, but since she was there, I had no choice but to end her. Since lights were off, no one saw I was there, so others would suspect whoever they ran in with, which was not me. The body is reported, and Maroon is accused first, since he was in the stack before. He was not...
I'm in my mom's car. Get out of the car!
A message appeared on every screen in the world. Hi, I just found out what happens if you don't. I was playing Monopoly with Dads, what single moment made your whole life fall apart? The day I became paralyzed with my kids was the day I found out what they really thought of me. I was upstairs in my office with my headphones on when I faintly heard my wife cry out. I took them off, and that's when I heard a man's voice. Shut up, or I'll hurt your daughter next. I instinctively ran downstairs. In the living room, this guy had my white pin, knife in his right hand, and was forcing himself on her. I didn't say a word, just lunged, grabbed his knife arm, and yanked him back. We struggled. The knife caught my wife's shoulder as she pulled away and ran to our daughter, but he was stronger than me. We crashed into the coffee table, and that's when he got the knife. He plunged it right into my lower back. I screamed and went down hard, and instantly lost all feeling below my waist. My first thought went to my wife and kids, somehow saving them, but in the commotion, my wife managed to hit our panic button. Sirens were already wailing up our street just as the guy stood up. He bolted out the front. 2 days later, the doctors confirmed I'd never walk again. My wife sat on my hospital bed, tears streaming down her face. I'm so ashamed it took this for us to see you, really see you. My teenage daughter held my hand. You've always been there, every practice, every pickup, and we treated you like a chauffeur. My son nodded. We promised, Dad, we'll take care of you, the way you've always taken care of us. For 3 months, they meant it. My wife learned to help with my physical therapy exercises. The kids actually talked during our drives, now them pushing my wheelchair through the neighborhood. Family dinners became sacred. My wife would massage my legs even though I couldn't feel it, saying it was good for circulation. My son researched accessibility modifications for the house. We played board games. We watched movies together, actually together, no phones. I love you, Dad became a daily thing instead of just birthdays. The crack started when school picked back up. Can't help with PT today, huge test tomorrow, my son said. Then my wife got promoted. This is great for us financially, with you out of work and all that, she said, working late most nights. The wheelchair ramps they promised to build became maybe next month. My daughter started treating my disability like an inconvenience. God, Dad, you're so slow. When I took too long transferring to the car, my son stopped coming home, claiming he needed to study at Jake's. My wife hired part-time caregiver without discussing it. We're all just so busy, and you need professional help. The caregiver started finding me soiled because nobody would answer when I called for help transferring to the bathroom. Where were they? She'd ask. Oh, they must not have heard me. I'd lie. Family dinners disappeared. They'd eat separately, leaving me a plate in the microwave. My wife started sleeping in the guest room. Your chair makes noise when you transfer at night. The kids walked past my office without stopping. Back to the AirPods, back to seeing through me. Except now I couldn't even drive them. I was furniture that needed maintenance. The caregiver, Elena, noticed everything. She never said it outright, but I'd catch her watching my family ignore me. One day she brought homemade soup. You need someone to care about you, not just for you, she said. We started talking during exercises. She was widowed, raised 2 kids alone. After my husband died, I learned something. You can't make people love you by sacrificing yourself. You have to love yourself first. I began going out without them. Joined a wheelchair basketball league. Started online consulting work. Elena would drop me off and I'd wheel myself home. The burn in my arms felt like freedom. I learned to cook from my chair. I modified my car with hand controls. My family didn't notice my independence. They'd grown comfortable with my absence. My wife even said once, it's good you're keeping busy, like I was a retiree with a hobby. That's when I realized Elena was right. But it wasn't until she touched my face after a particularly hard day, my wife had forgotten our anniversary completely, that I understood I was falling for someone who saw me. I asked for the divorce on a Tuesday. My wife laughed at me. How would you even manage without us? I've been managing without you for months. The kids tried guilting me. After everything we've done for you, as if 3 months of care erased years of neglect. I moved into an accessible apartment, started dating Elena properly. My kids called it Dad's midlife crisis. 2 years later, my wife called sobbing. I was able to walk slowly again, and she'd been in a car accident, needed both knees replaced and a wheelchair. Ironic much? Insurance wouldn't her cover in-home care, and the kids were too busy with their lives to help. Please, she begged, just until I can walk again. You know what it's like. Plus, we were a family. We were, I agree. But you taught me something important. Family shows up when it's inconvenient, not just for dinners after heroics. I heard she hired Elena's company for care later, shelving all her savings. Elena told me she spent most visits alone, calling for help and didn't come, eating microwave dinners. Her kids visited once a month, staying just long enough to post about being good children on social media. I married Elena last spring. My family wasn't invited, but my basketball team was. Turns out the only disability I ever had was believing I needed to be hurt before I deserved love. Dads, what single moment made you...
Make-A-Wish. Employees. What was the most strangest thing a Make-A-Wish kid asked for and actually received? I worked at Make-A-Wish for 3 years, and most kids ask for trips to Disney to meet their favorite celebrity. But then I met Ethan, a 12 12-year-old with bone cancer who had the weirdest request I'd ever heard. I sat beside his hospital bed with my clipboard ready, expecting the usual. Maybe he wanted to be a football player or go to Hawaii. But when I asked what his wish was, Ethan looked me dead in the eye and said, "I want to see my principal get arrested." The room went completely silent. His mom laughed awkwardly, thinking he was joking around. But Ethan wasn't smiling. He was totally serious. He told me about Mr. Garver, his principal back at school. This guy was like a cartoon villain, but worse because he was real. Ethan said Mr. Garver once expelled a kid for having a water balloon fight during lunch. Another time, he suspended a girl for crying during a panic attack because it was disrupting the learning environment. But what really got to Ethan was what happened to him personally. One day during gym class, right after his chemo treatment, he fainted on the basketball court. Instead of calling the nurse or his parents, Mr. Garver told him to stop faking it for attention and made him clean up after himself with a mop. Ethan never forgot that moment. Lying on that hospital bed, bald from chemo and weighing maybe 90 pounds, he looked at me and said, "That man made me feel like dirt when I was already dying. I just want him to know what that feels like." Most people would have said no immediately. It wasn't exactly a normal wish. But something about the way Ethan said it made me think we could get creative. I talked to my supervisor, then the school board, then somehow got the police department involved. Everyone secretly hated Mr. Garver anyway. The teachers complained about him. Parents filed complaints. But he never got fired because he'd been there forever. So we came up with a plan. We told Mr. Garver the police were coming to do a School Safety Awareness Day presentation about lockdown drills and stuff like that. Nothing unusual. Schools did this all the time. But when Officer Martinez showed up that Tuesday morning, he walked right past the auditorium full of students and headed straight for the principal's office. The whole school watched through the windows as the officer knocked on Mr. Garver's door. When he opened it, Officer Martinez said loud enough for everyone to hear, "You're under arrest for multiple counts of being a menace to children and one count of terrorizing a cancer patient." Mr. Garver's face went white. The officer gently put handcuffs on him while reading off fake charges about cruel and unusual punishment of students and abuse of power. As they walked him through the hallway, every single kid was pressed against their classroom windows watching. Some were filming on their phones. The teachers were trying not to smile. But the best part was when they got to the front office. Ethan was there in his wheelchair, wearing his Make-A-Wish t-shirt and a plastic police badge we'd given him. Over the intercom, he read his victim statement to the entire school. He talked about how Mr. Garver made kids feel small and scared, how he punished students for things they couldn't control, and how the cafeteria food should probably be considered a war crime too. The whole school was cracking up. Even some teachers were laughing in the background. Mr. Garver was in on it the whole time, obviously. The school board basically forced him to participate or face actual consequences for his behavior over the years. He didn't like it one bit, but he went along with it because they told him it was either this or early retirement. They arrested him right out the front doors while Ethan waved goodbye from his wheelchair. The local news even picked up the story. Ethan became like a celebrity at school for the next few months. Kids would high-five him in the hallways, and teachers would sneak him extra cookies at lunch. 6 months later, Ethan passed away in his sleep. His mom called me crying, and she told me that those last months, Ethan talked about his wish constantly. Not because he was proud of getting revenge, but because it made him feel like he had power again when everything else in his life was out of his control. The school ended up renaming their media center after him. Make-A-Wish. Employees, what was the most... If I was a character in Forsaken, I would play an electric guitar that creates a small aura around me and gives any survivors nearby effects like healing or speed.